Okay, so in the previous video, we made a simple Flask app that takes in our name and returns it with a greeting. So what we're going to do is expand our knowledge a little bit, and we are going to create a survey with dynamic elements. Also, we're going to do some data storage and retrieval using JSON. So we're going to actually create a separate app for this. We have all our code inside of a directory called code. And what I'm going to do is actually create a new directory called code2. So let me actually down here stop the app. And I'm going to create a new directory by clicking. You'll see that it highlights the entire screen. There's a blue line around it. Now, when I create a folder, it'll create a folder here. So I'm going to call this code2, and I'm going to create in code2 some of the same things I have in code. So I'm going to create an app.py. This will be our new app.py for our new app. I'm going to also create templates, and I'm going to create static. Click on code2, create a folder, static. Okay, and this will be where we put our JavaScript and styles. All right, so here we're going to import from Flask. We're going to import Flask render template request redirect URL for and sonify. Okay, and we are also going to import JSON. Okay, so the only new thing here that wasn't in the simple app is JSONify and JSON. All right, so we're going to set up some routes here. But first, what we want to do is set up our app similar to the way we did before. We're going to say Flask _ name _ First route is going to be app route. This will be our survey. Copy this. Create a couple more routes, and then close terminal on here. All right, so if you copy this a couple times, because you're going to create a couple more routes, one of them is going to be submit, one of them is going to be results. So for survey, I'm going to create a function called show survey. Show is going to be request dot args get question. 1 type is going to be equal to integer. All right, so this will check to see what the question is. And if the question is equal to 1, then we're going to display we're going to render the template for question1.html. We are going to check if the question 2 will render the template for question 2. We also want to request get the answer. All right. So that's the first route. You have route for our answer as well, submission rather. So def, this will be submit responses in a JSON file. And JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So even though we're using Python, JSON is used often to store data because of the structured way that JSON represents data. So there are a lot of tools, regardless of the programming language, that stores information in JSON. You can store data and clear it in a text file, basically, but it's structured so that it can be parsed. Parsing basically means that it can be processed easily. So that's why we're going to use JSON here. All right, we're going to get the answer request form, get the answer that was submitted. We'll say current question, change this into an integer, request dot form current question. Okay, and then we'll go to the next question in our survey. All right, so we get the answer from their submission. We'll check to see what the current question is. That's going to be sent over as a string, so we need to change it into an integer. That's why we have the int right here. Then we're going to go set the next question to the current question plus 1. We're going to load any existing data. So if the file doesn't exist, do a try block here with open data JSON. I want to read data was JSON dot load. We're going to load that file and an exception here. Data file not found. All right, so if the file exists, we're going to load it. If not, we're going to just create a list, an empty list at first. Then what we're going to do is we're going to append new data. We're going to say data append. Now this will work whether or not it is a list or it is something loaded from JSON. The append will, because what the load does here is it creates a list from the JSON file. All right, so we are going to append a key value pair here. Let's say question is current question, and answer is answer. Okay, this should be a colon, not a comma. All right, here's the key. The value will be whatever answer they send over. Here's the key for the question, and the current question number will be the value. That's set inside of the list. All right, so now we need to save this to the data file. So we're going to save updated data. with open, I'm going to say data JSON. I'm going to open it to write this time instead of read, right? As file, or F, which basically means file. And then we're going to say JSON dump data dent equals 4. Regardless of whether or not we read in the entire file or we're creating a new entry and then creating a file, this should work. So it'll either read in the entire file and just add this new entry, or this new entry will be created here from this list, and then this entry will be the first one in the file. Okay, so now we need to redirect to the next question or the end of the survey. Okay, F next question greater than 2. This is only assuming we only have 2 questions. Return, redirect, 4. Thank you. And say else, return, redirect to the question. URL 4, show survey, comma, question. This is how up here this is working. So up here is what we're checking for, and the show survey route is checking to see whether or not it's a 1 or 2. So that's how this up here works. Statement. So if the question is 1, it'll show question 1 template. If it's 2, it'll show the question 2 template, and that's how that is working here. All right, so next we need to create a results page. You're going to try with open data.json. This reading again, say results equals JSON.load, and we are going to create an exception here. Not found. Much time the term results is going to be an empty list. So similar to what we did up there when we were up here, when we were creating the submit, if the JSON file does not exist, we're just going to create an empty list so that the results page can render properly. So after we do that, you're going to say render template, and then we're going to send it over to the results.html template that we have to create. And we're going to send the results.html template, the results, say results equal results. Okay. The final thing that we need to do here is the same thing we did in the other file. We're going to say f underscore name equals underscore main, and you want to app.run debug is going to be sure. Assuming there are no errors here, you can save this. The little circle will go away, and the app is done, but we need to create our. So you see a couple here. We have the results.html template that we need to create. We have the question 1 and question 2 template we need to create as well. See if there's anything else here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We also should try. We need to create this route. So actually, let me do that here. So just copy this down here, and we need to have that thank you route. Thank you, and thank you. This will just return you for your submission. So that's the thank you route that's sent after they get to the second question. Now we need to create the other templates that will be rendered using the render template function. So here, let's actually create a base template that all of these will use using Jinja, and then we can save ourselves a little bit of typing. So here under templates, you're going to say base.html and use emit here to create the scaffolding, and we will put some Jinja code here. So this will be replaced whenever this template is used in other templates. So we're going to say block title. Again, this template won't be used directly, so no one's going to be going to this template directly. This template will be used by other templates so that we don't have to retype all the HTML stuff over and over again. Okay, so we'll use this, and you'll see this when we get to it. We'll use this block to change the title, but all this other stuff will be typed for us by pulling from this template. We're going to set up a header here and an H1 tag. We're going to create another block here of Jinja default header, but the actual, so we'll end the block here, and this will begin the block. 2% signs, and then block header. And next, we're going to have the main part of the document here, and then block, just like before. And this will make more sense when we actually start using this base template. If you don't understand right now, that's fine. But I'll just remember that the other templates will use this template. Means that we have to write less HTML. I'm going to put a tag down here for the footer. Survey, location, 2024. All right, so that's our base template. Now we're going to extend our base template with the questions that we need to create. So we're going to say question1.html, if you remember, is our first question. So we're just going to say this extends base HTML, and that means it'll load the base.html that is now created, and that means we can use all the elements that we set up in there. So block title, saw that, and the title, we're going to say question. Then it'll be the end block. It'll replace, we'll use the base template and it'll replace default title with question 1. And it'll do that for all the blocks that we set up inside of the base template. All right, so the next block, I'm going to copy this and paste it here, just with less typing. And the next block was the header, right? So we're going to say header, and the header is going to say, what is your favorite color? Okay. And then we're going to have our content block. Right, so here I'm going to say block. Inside of here, we can actually put some HTML that is specific to this page. And create a form. Action is going to be some more Jinja here. Get the URL for submit. Set up right here. URL for submit will be how we submit. The method will be post. Input can be hidden. Question, the value is going to be equal to 1. Again, here is where that is being pulled, right here, where we're getting the question. And also remember right here, when we get the submit, we have to set that question to the current question to an integer. You can see right here, it's a string. All right, so next one is going to be a radio. ID will be blue. Name will be answer. And the value will be blue. And we can copy this for some of the other ones. And do this for red as well. And in between them, I put a label here. Label will say for blue, and it will say blue in here. Here, label before red. This will say red. So up here, we need to change this to red. This is just an example question. You can, of course, have something far more complicated than this. And then button will be type, which I can do that quicker just by doing button. This will be type submit, and say next. And that's the end of the form. And then we also need to end the block. And all right, so we can save this is the first question. We're going to do question 2 right here. You can see in our templates, we have question 2.html. So I'm going to say question 2.html. All right, and you can actually copy most of this, and we're just going to change the question. So I'm going to copy all of this, paste it, and this will be question 2. And we will say, what is your favorite language? Let's actually say coding language. All right, current question is going to be changed to 2. This is going to say, let's say Python here. Value will be Python. This will change from blue to Python. And this will be Python as well. This one will say JavaScript. And JavaScript. JavaScript. Okay, now all we have to do is do the results page. So here, we will do a new document, results, or the results template, results, HTML. You can type quickly if you have all this copied, copy it again and paste it because the format will be very similar. We're going to change this to survey results. And the heading will be the same thing. Survey results. This content will change though. We're going to create a UL here. And remember, when the results page is called here, it's being sent all the data. After it's submitted, the results page is being sent all the data down here. It either opens up the file or it sends an empty list if the file doesn't exist. We're going to have a little bit of Jinja here to actually do a for loop to go over all the data that's being sent over. So we're going to say for results and results, we will do an li in our HTML. Say question, copy a question, results. Okay, so we'll loop through that. Jinja isn't Python, so we actually need to end the loop here. So we have to say end the for. Okay, creating user accounts is another lesson, but right now, every time someone submits something, it will add to the JSON file, and then we'll have the question, we'll have their answer. It'd be nice to actually see who those questions and answers are applied to, or which user or which person did it. But and you can actually do that. But you'd have to ask the question every single time. But there's actually a better way to do that with actually having user authentication. But like I said, that's another lesson for the future. Okay, so now that we have our results, our question 1, question 2, our base, and our app, we can open the terminal. Try to run our app here. Make sure you have the Flask virtual environment enabled. Make sure you cd into code2 directory for that app. And also make sure that you export Flask as app.py. Okay, now you can do Flask run. And after no errors, we need to go to the survey over here. Let's see what we have, what the error is here. There's an error here that we probably copied to the other ones. So let me stop the server and right here. We did copy it. So this needs to have a %sign. There should be a %sign here as well. Since we copied and pasted this, there's supposed to be a %sign here, and there's a %sign here, and a %sign here. So save all three of those, save the results, save the question two, save this. All right, if we copied in the other errors, you might have to come back here and fix something else, but I think I see all the %signs, and unless we misspelled something, I think that's fine. All right, go back down here, do a Flask run again, and just jump back over here and try to do survey again. Have an error here. It's not showing the form. Yes, we also have another error here. All right, so spelled content wrong here. Content. That's going to affect all of these. Content. It doesn't matter that we misspelled it. It matters that we spelled it differently than we spelled it here inside of the base template, because base template is looking for it to be spelled like this. Okay, clear, run again, and then we can go back over to the browser, refresh this. All right, we are going to select next for this. We have a method not allowed error. A method not allowed error, I think, because we set up our route incorrectly here for the submit. Up here, the route should say methods that are allowed. Methods equal post. Save this, stop, clear, one more time. Then we can go back over to the browser, go back to this, and select red, go next, and then goes to the next question. And let's say, I'm going to say Python is my favorite. Okay. Then it says, thank you for your submissions. Remember, that's the thank you route. All right. So we can go to the results page. All right. So what's our error or issue with results? Okay. So let's see down here in our results route, this should be in quotation marks, the read, just like it was up here. This typo in our Java, in our Python. So stop the browser again, going to Flask that run, and go back over here and try to refresh our results page. Okay, so we have question one, question two. And if I were to go to survey again and answer differently here, then go to results again, you'll have question one, question two. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Storing data, we have the JSON file, it's been created, and it has the previous questions and the new questions. It's saving it as a text file. And I can actually show you here. We stop the server by pressing Control-C to an LS. You can see the JSON file there, and you can actually open it up and see what it looks like. It's just structured data. The last thing you might want to do is add some styles for all these pages. If you go back over here, we created the static directory styles. So we're gonna edit the base template here and say link. The link here will be some Jinja, and we'll say the link here will be some Jinja, and we'll say URL for static, and file name will be style. Make sure you put some quotation marks around that. Close that off, the Jinja off. Okay, so add the styles.css to all the files, and add the quotation mark here to close off the HTML. So quotation mark, two curly braces here, two curly braces at the end, quotation mark, and then all of this is inside of parentheses. Make sure you have all the tokens there. All right, so here you will actually create styles.css. Back here in the base class, make sure you save this so that it applies to all the other files. Right here in the base template, make sure you save that. All right, so styles, I'm gonna have something for the body here. So the body font family is going to be Arial, sans serif. That's fine. And we're going to say background color. That'd be hashtag F4, F4, F4. Then our margin is going to be 20 pixels. Padding is going to be 20 pixels. So it'll be on every page because every page is going to use the base template. And let's see, every one of our pages has an H1. So our H1 is going to be a text align to the center. And we are going to margin the top to 20 pixels. Now set up the form. Some of our pages have forms or styles for forms. We're going to have form. And this will be background color will be white. The padding will be 20 pixels. The border radius is going to be 5 pixels. The box shadow is be 0, 2 pixels, 5 pixels. And then RGBA is going to be 0. It's on 0. 0.1. Okay, make sure you have semicolons at the end of each one of these. Though Visual Studio Code should just give you an error if there isn't. All right, and our input for type radio and also button. Let's say our margin top It's going to be 5 pixels. And our button being background color of 4C AF50. Our text color is going to be white. Our padding is going to be 10 pixels top, 15 sides. Our border will be none. Our border radius will be 5 pixels. Our cursor will be pointer. And we're going to set up button hover. Styles for button hover. Background color will be 45A049. All right. Slight color change. Hover. Right. So if you remember, a results page also has unordered lists and list elements. So we're going to set up some styles for that as well. We will say that UL will be list style type going to be none. Padding will be 0. Our max width will be 600 pixels. Our margin will be 0 in auto, which centers the list on the page. This limits the width to 600 pixels for readability. Our LI will be background color of F. Padding will be 10 pixels by 10 pixels. Border button bottom will be 10 pixels. Solid color will be CCC. The font size will be 16 pixels. And then I'm going to have an LI for the last child. Say border bottom will be none. Okay, assuming we don't have any typos in our here. Save this, and we are going to run our app again. Go over the browser survey. It looks the same as it did before, which means that we have an issue somewhere. Oh yes, this is spelled wrong. STILES. Okay, save that. Restart. Control-C this stuff and then run. All right, that looks better. We can do again here. Next, and say JavaScript or Python. Next, it says thank you for submission, and then we can go to the survey results, and this is what the results look like. A little nicer. All right, and that's pretty much it for this one.